All right, I've had a great question about exercise 1.03, question 7. It says a triangle has vertices of A, B, and C. Find the gradient of the line joining the midpoints of line AB and line AC. All right, so let's have a shot at doing this. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to try and draw this. So let's see if I can. Again, I'm going to use line without a grid on, which means it's going to be a little bit hit and miss. So I've got y here and x here. Okay, so the first line is A, which is 4 along 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 up about there. So I'm going to call that 4 along, 4 along -2. So I'm not even concentrating. Here we go. So 4, -2, and that is going to be A. So I'll just put 4, -2 there. 4, 4, -2, so you can see what I'm doing. All right, we do not need this thing here. I don't want extraneous things on there to confuse me. All right, B is -1, 3, so -1 is there. 3 up would be 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be B. I'll put B here, -1, 3. And we need, what else? C, which is 4, -6. So 4, here's my 4. There's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is point C, 4, -6. There it is. Okay, so let's try and join these up and see if we get some kind of a triangle that we can operate on. Okay, here we go. I was turning this way so I can draw it, I think. All right, so it looks all right. Well, I'm going to miss. Oh, I had to curve that last little bit. Okay, so we're going to have a line somewhere at the midpoint of this line, which is going to be somewhere around here, and the midpoint of this line, which is what's going to be smack in the middle there. So you can already see where this one's going to be. This is going to be -2 to -6. It's going to be -4 in the middle here. But we'll use the midpoint equations to find that out, so we make sure we get that right. So, and I think they're looking for the evidence. Obviously, you can just see, as a matter of observation, you can see that's going to be -4 in the middle there. But let's work it out properly. So I'll use the midpoint equation. So I'll go midpoint. And what the first thing we're going to do is let's choose the points 4, -2 and -1, 3. And I'm just going to plonk those straight into the midpoint equation. Now, I'll go equals, but really, remember, this is not an equation so much as an expression. So I've got x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. I'll use a sharp pencil, I think. Definitely called for here. Now, notice I line these up, so I've got, I'll call this 1, I'll call this 1, and I'll call this 2. So here's my x1s, here's my y1s, x1, y1, x1, x2, y2, y2, y1, y2. So they're directly on top of each other. So my x's are here, so I'm going to have 4 plus -1 over 2. That's these folks here, my x's, comma, y1, y2. Well, this is my y1 and my y2, so I've got -2 plus 3 over 2. All right, so where do I end up here? Well, that's going to be 4 minus 1 is 3, and that's going to be 3 on 2, comma. And this is going to be, looks like a 3 minus 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1/2. So that's the midpoint of this. It's going to be 1.5, comma, a half. So 1.5 is about there, comma, a half. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be right there. That's the point there. So there it is. And that's, I'll just say 3 on 2, comma, 1/2. So it's good. It's actually on the line, which is rather good, because it could have been in the middle of the air. All right, so that's the first midpoint. That's the midpoint of AB. Now we want the midpoint of AC. Now remember, we can see this by observation, and it's going to be 4 along, and it's going to be -4 down. yeah, because there's 4, and it's going to be halfway between -2 and -6, so it's going to be, we already know this is going to be 4, -4. Let's calculate it using the midpoint equation, just so we've done it. And I don't know what evidence you'd need to provide here. I'd imagine you could get away with saying, by observation, it's halfway. But let's do it the way they want it, I imagine. So let's say we've got a 4 and a -2. So we're going to start with this point, and we're going to go to this point here, which is 4 and -6. So midpoint is going to be x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. All right. So x1 and x2, well, I've got, let's have a look, 4 and 4. So that's going to be 8 over 2. We'll fast track it here. And we've got -2 and -6, which is going to be -8 on 2. So this becomes 4 on 2. Sorry, 4 on 1, which is 4. So it's 4 on 1. This becomes 4, comma, -4. So as I say, we could see that already. And there it is there, 4, comma, -4. So that's the midpoint here. This is the midpoint here. And what we're doing now is we're saying, well, let's, if we drew a line from one to the other. So I'll try and draw that line now. See if I can draw it roughly. So we're saying, well, what is the gradient of that line? That's what the question is asking. And so let's find the gradient of that line. So in this case, we're going to have to say, and I'll do it down here, see if I can make some room. We're going to end up with the gradient equation. So m is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we've got our 2 points here, and the 2 points are here and here. So this is 1, this is the second one. So I've got my 2 x values and my 2 y values. It doesn't matter which ones we choose, as long as we don't cross them over like this. So let's go y2 minus y1. I'm going to call this y2, this y1. So that's going to equal -4 minus 1/2 over x2, 4 minus x1, which is 3 over 2. All right, so what does that come to? Well, -4 minus 1/2, that's going to be -4.5. But I'm going to write, instead of 4.5, I'm going to have 9 over 2, -9 over 2. I don't want mixed numbers over fractions. I don't like that. So -9 over 2 over, and we've got, this is going to be 4 minus 1.5, which is really 2.5. But 2.5, let's write 5 over 2. Much better way of writing it. Now, of course, when you divide fractions, we find the reciprocal of the divisor and multiply. So really, I'll put a little sidebar over here. This is the same as going -9 over 2, not divided by 5 over 2, but multiplied by 2 over 5. And that becomes -9 over 2 is going to be -18 over 10. Oops, I didn't want to do that. And -18 over 10 is equal to -9 over 5. And that is the gradient of that line here. So that's the gradient. M value is -9 over 5. And that's my solution.